What's good, everybody? This is I Make Beats. Today's video, I'm excited to make it. This video is about taking basic chords and adding secondary dominance to the basic chord progression to give it a more professional, polished sound. And then I'm going to show you how I use Ace Studio to fill in the missing gaps, those instruments that may be missing. I'm going to show you how I use Ace Studio layers to fill in those other instruments to complete the sound. All right, let's get started. So today I'm going to keep it simple, but this method or this concept, it applies to any key. But I know most of you who are inspiring musicians who are wanting to improve your ability to play chords and to enhance your sound, I'm going to keep it simple. We're going to play in the key of C. The key of C is all white notes, but you'll notice as we go into this demonstration or tutorial, you'll see me from time to time play notes that are not in the key of C, because we know the key of C is all white notes, but you'll see me hitting some of these black notes and you're going to be like, why does that work? Well, the reason why it works is because I'm borrowing chords called secondary dominants. And when you add those type of chords to your chord progression, it gives it a more professional, polished sound. So today's chord progression, real simple. It's 4 chords. We're going to do a 1, 6, 4, 5. So in any key, there are 7 notes in the key, and then you return to the first note that you play. So in the key of C, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then either 1 or 8. Okay, so we know that most musicians, they use the number system. Okay, so if they say, hey, we're in the key of C, we're going to do a 2, 5, 1. That means they're going to do a 2, 5, 1. The second note in the scale, the 5th note in the scale, the first note in the scale. But in our chord progression, we're going to do a 1, 6, 4, 5. Okay, so basic chord, the basic 1 chord. Then we're going to go to the 6 chord. Then the 4 chord. Then the 5 chord. Okay, so I'm going to play that with both hands, but in the basic form. And that works, okay? It does. But if you're anything like me, over time, you will begin to get tired of those basic, beginner level chords. And when you start extending the chord and when you start to add what we call secondary dominance in between those chords, we're always going to play the 1, 6, 4, 5. But we're going to start adding secondary dominance in between them. So I know I'm going 1, 6, but before I go to the 6th, there's a chord that I can play that will connect the 1 to the 6. Those are called secondary dominants. Now I'm going to demonstrate a few secondary dominants. Now, if you notice, the notes that I were tapping were black, and they don't exist in the key of C. However, if you notice, they sounded great. So if you guys, real quickly, if you're interested in advancing your ability to connect your chords to make them sound more dynamic and more polished, more professional, check the link in the description. I have what you need: the secondary dominant flow chart and the scale and chord chart bundle. It will take you from 0 to hero. Now, I'm going to go ahead and record the piano. You'll hear it using secondary dominance, similar to what you saw me play in the beginning of the video. And then what we're going to do is we're going to export the piano parts and take them on over to A Studio and see what A Studio can come up with, because I do happen to play guitar. However, I don't have a guitar here. So the next best thing is to have A Studio analyze my chord progression and give us that guitar rhythm section. All right, so let me add the pianos and then we're going to move over to A Studio. All right, we moved over to the computer. I'm bringing A Studio up online. Let's go ahead and get that opened. All right, so now that it's open, let's grab that piano that you heard me playing. Let's go ahead and grab that piano wave that I exported from the MPC. Let's drag it into the A Studio software. And let's go ahead and now set the BPM to match that of the project in the MPC, which was 68.42. Lock that down. All right, let's take a listen. All right. That's perfect. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and right click on the file, go to AI Tools, add a layer. As you can see here, there's a lot of different layer sections, but we're going to go with guitar for this particular example. Let me type a little brief description. Add a guitar, smooth guitar, rhythm section. And you can type, be as descriptive as you want. That the more description you give, I think the better the layer comes out. That really sets the mood. That's what I want to say. Something simple, just for this example. All right, let's generate. All right, so the generation does take a little time. So let me go ahead and skip a little bit ahead of this. All right, so there we have the sample has been generated. Let's solo this and let's just hear the guitar by itself. All right, let's see what that sounds like. Wow. Oh my goodness, man. A Studio really analyzed the chord changes and the mood of the piano, and it just nailed it with those guitars. All right, let's see what this sounds like with the piano with the piano and the guitar together. Okay, so before coming back from the computer, I went on ahead and I had A Studio create me a second guitar rhythm section. Okay, so I'm going to play both of those for you. And what's really nice is how A Studio really analyzes what you give it. So it analyzed my piano chord progression, and it created a guitar rhythm section that I think is just amazing. So check these out. Now, I'm not sure if you were paying attention to the audio signal here, but what's really dope about A Studio also is if you notice that the audio signal it's already panned because I panned it in A Studio before I exported it. So that's really nice that there's a mixer, there's effects, you can set levels and panning in the A Studio software, and then when you export that file, it bakes those settings into the sample. So now I'm going to play the second guitar section, and you'll notice how it's panned. You'll see that it's already panned. I didn't pan it I didn't do anything to it in the MPC other than just load it to the pad, but you'll see that one side is higher than the other, and that's because I set all that up in A Studio before I exported it. Check out the second one. Man, that is just amazing. So the reason why I did that is because I don't want the guitar to sound so repetitive. So I can alternate between these two within my chord progression, and it's going to sound like this. We're going to change the guitar here. Hope you guys got some value from this. Yeah, it inspired me. I wanted to put a little vocal in there. I'm gonna continue to tighten this up. If you guys like this type of content, let me know in the comments below. Also, if you guys are interested in A Studio software, hey, hit me below. Let me know how you're gonna use it, if you're gonna get it. I think that it's filling in a lot of gaps because we don't have those type of instruments in the MPC. This is my go-to machine. When I'm serious about creating something, I'm for sure going to come to the MPC. However, I hate that it's missing certain instruments, like that really nice sounding live humanistic guitar sound, saxophones, brass, all that stuff's missing. But with A Studio, I can play my music and then have basically a musician on standby. I can, as you saw in the A Studio software, there are a whole bunch of different categories of layers that you can add, and I think it just gives it a very professional sound. Let me know what you guys think. Until next time, this is I Make Beats.